All right. How's it going, guys? Really excited to be here again. The topic of the day is, should I start a fitness social media before I reach my fitness goals? Now, the short answer to that question is no, but we're going to go in depth into why or why not that might be true for you. Really excited about this one. This is actually a question that was asked by someone that I was speaking to and met at the gym that I work at. A lot of the questions or topics that we go over here are based on conversations that I have with people in normal life or at work. So before we get started, my name is Zach with Physique, the channel and startup company for physical fitness and men's health. This is our weekly podcast, Coffee with Fox. I actually don't have my coffee mug with the fox on it, but this is my cool Naruto mug that I usually use in its place. It's actually my favorite one now, but the fox one does kind of match the mascot. We'll make our own eventually, but it's one that I got off of Amazon. My wife actually got it for me. So, welcome to the podcast. This is episode 5. Really excited to have you guys here. Let's get into it. So again, should I start a fitness social media before I'm at my fitness goals or before I reach my fitness goals? So like I said, the short answer is no. Why is that? And it's not always no, but usually it's no. Now, the reason that I find that it's that way for me, how it worked out for me, and I'll get into my story shortly when it comes to like Twitch and YouTube. A question usually comes up when you start a social media or any kind of YouTube channel, Instagram, whatever it may be for you. And that is, when will I reach my goals? So if you're asking yourself if I should start a social media before I reach my goals, when will you reach your goals? Most likely, if you're a driven person, unfortunately, the answer is never. You're never going to reach your goals. Now, if you make some short-term goals now, then you might reach them. But say, and this is actually, I'll use an example from my fitness journey. When I started working out, I wanted to be as big, muscular-wise, as Bruce Lee, because I was extremely skinny back then. I was about 125 pounds. And that's kind of like being generous. But I was about 125 pounds at 5'6", 5'7", which is very light. My arms were very skinny. I had a big appetite, but it didn't really go anywhere because I wasn't doing a whole lot of working out. I was jogging, I was staying active, but I wasn't lifting weights. I wasn't even doing push-ups, sit-ups, anything like that. I was doing a lot more stuff for MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, or what I called it back then was Jeet Kune Do, which is Bruce Lee's type of fighting style. So he was like a big role model for me. When I made my goals initially, and I think I talked about this in another episode, I'm not too sure, but we're going to go over it again. When I initially made my goals for myself at 125, 130 pounds, I said, okay, Bruce Lee was about 145 pounds, maybe 150. And this guy is ripped, man. He's really strong. He has great looking muscles, and he does, for sure. He did, for sure. If you look up the pictures, he had a great set of abs. His lats looked really good. His arms were good. So I started strength training, and I started with push-ups, working with like light weights that I had in my backyard, pull-ups, body weight squats, or squats trying to hold weight in my hands. Pretty lightweight. And my goal was to look like Bruce Lee. I started approaching that goal a lot faster than I thought I would. when I started doing really heavy weightlifting. I started working out at a homemade garage gym. But to be honest, this garage gym was actually better than a lot of big box gyms. It was actually pretty big, had a lot of different types of machines and weights. And I actually got to help improve the gym because it was a friend of mine's, or actually his father's gym. The problem started arising when I got close to that goal, like way fast, because I looked at Bruce Lee and I thought that I was going to take 5 to 10 years to reach that goal. I started getting to that goal size wise, but by the time I got to that goal, I started watching like Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Franco Columbu, and my goals changed very fast. Now I don't know if I'm at Bruce Lee's physique. That's not my goal anymore. My goal is also not to look like Arnold because he was most certainly using PEDs. He spoke about what PEDs he was using in the 70s. So clearly that's not going to happen for me, as I'm going to stay natural for my entire life. The most supplements that I take is like creatine and protein powder. That's basically it. I mean, I've experimented with other natural supplements. Creatine is basically one of the only supplements that I find any value in, and then, you know, like coffee and protein powder, which are food sources. Kind of a long way to say that my goals changed. I think if you're a driven person, your goals are not going to stay the same. As you get closer and closer to your goals, they're going to change every time. You're never going to be satisfied with what you see. Hopefully that it doesn't bother you, but you're not going to be satisfied with what you see as like, okay, I'm done. I got to my goal. I don't need to get any further. You're always going to want to get further. So there's never really going to be a point where you feel like you're ready to start your social media if that finish line or starting line, however you look at it, is reaching your fitness goals. Now, another cool story that I would like to use to inspire anyone who has this question is when I started streaming to Twitch. And by no means, guys, did I get big on Twitch or anything like that, but I did do it for 5 years, and I did grow a pretty awesome core audience, which I still stream to here and there, just not as frequently. But when I started streaming to Twitch, I was playing Overwatch and Paragon, and I'm trying to like recall vividly what was going on around that time because it was a while ago. But I had first built my computer. I had a monitor, I had a webcam, just one monitor. Now I have two, which I think is plenty. But I had a monitor and a phone, and that was enough. And a decent computer. And I was playing Overwatch a lot. And a little bit of Paragon. And I said I want to stream. I actually said that I wanted to stream 2 or 3 years before that. But I finally got a good job. I got a stable household. I had a very supportive girlfriend, which is now my wife. And I said, okay, I've been waiting 2 or 3 years to start streaming. But now that I have what I need to start, maybe I should practice a bit because I hadn't played shooting games on a computer in years. Maybe I should practice a bit before I get to that point. And so it sent me down this whole rabbit hole for like 2 weeks of thinking, I'm saying 2 weeks, probably about 2 weeks, thinking to myself, well, what is that point that I need to be at before starting? Should I be a pro? Should I be as good as a pro? Should I be like maybe intermediate? Can I really start before I have any real experience? And I realized that for me to get to that point that I wanted to be at, because, you know, my goals are usually pretty high. I didn't necessarily need to be a pro, but I wanted my skill level to be that of a professional Overwatch player, a professional gamer. And I thought to myself, like, yeah, that's a really awesome fantasy that I have painted in my head. However, um, that's going to take 5 years, realistically, maybe more than 5 years, but at least probably 3 to 5 years before I start getting to that point and where people want to watch me, in my head at least, what I would want to watch. And then I thought to myself, that's the top 1%. And that image is created in my head by the top 1% because I'm seeing those people. But what's more relatable for the other 99%? You know, not just what do they want to watch, but what's more relatable? Is it being there already and then showing the results of my journey, or showing the journey and allowing people to get to know me and watch me slowly get to the peak of my journey, or at least close to it? And so I said, all right, that's my answer that I'm looking for. Obviously, it's significantly more relatable to start streaming when I start playing video games competitively to the 99% than to trying to relate to the 1%. If I'm trying to relate to the top 1%, I'm not going to relate to the 99% for the most part. So I'm going to be more relatable, and I'm going to inspire more people to take the same journey as me. So I said, all right, I'm going to start. Instead of waiting until I'm good enough, I'm just going to start. I'm going to be terrible at the game, and I'm going to let people watch me be terrible. And then I'm going to let them watch me be decent. And I'm going to show me being good at the game, which I don't know if I ever really got to the point where I felt like I was good at the game. But again, like I said, that was years ago. That was about 5 years ago now. And I still don't feel like I'm good at the game. I still play here and there. But that's kind of the point of what I wanted to talk about. I never got there. I never got to the point where I felt like I was good. A lot of people that were watching me felt like I was good, but I didn't, because my goal always shifted. It always climbed. I still think maybe like when I watch people like Shroud, some of the top streamers in that category, I still think that they have goals for themselves. Like, that's why they stay driven, because they just have higher and higher goals. Of course, this doesn't have a lot to do with fitness directly, but the point is that it kind of applies to all different types of social media, and even just like starting your business. We'll use other examples like Mr. Beast, right? Mr. Beast is like a crazy general YouTuber. He makes just entertaining content. But he started with a really small thing. He started by donating small amounts of money, and it grew and grew. And he got to the point where he had millions of followers or subscribers on YouTube and making a lot of money. But he never got to the point where it was satisfying for him. Not that he was dissatisfied or unhappy with it. Hopefully he isn't. I don't really know. But his goals just kept growing. So every time his paycheck grew, or every time his subscriber base grew, can't say that word. Every time those things grew, his goals grew as well. I'm sure there are many other examples, like, you know, like I don't know, maybe like Elliot Hulse, right? Like, he kept growing. He kind of changed as he went. And I don't see a lot of these media influencers slowing down, because their goals kept the goals keep expanding as they go. They don't really reach their goals. So the bottom line is, you should most definitely start before you're ready, because you're never going to be ready. Another point is that most people aren't going to see your early content or videos, right? So I have another YouTube channel for gaming, and I also have the Twitch channel where I was gaming as well. And even though I was extremely uncomfortable talking to the camera, because no one was watching, that was the whole point, is that no one was watching, so it didn't matter. I guess people could go back now and watch some of the earlier videos. Most people don't, and at this point, I don't really care. I'm a lot better at the game now that I started. And really, the important reason that I bring up most people aren't going to see your early content or videos, pictures, whatever it may be, is that your first videos are going to be your worst. And it's not just for you, it's everyone that starts a channel. So like, this is the early stages of this YouTube channel here. I'm still not as comfortable at talking to the camera or to the audience, which is you guys, as I want to be. It doesn't matter because I'm going to improve as I go. So if your first videos are going to be your worst, and the first videos are the worst for every content creator, including Mr. Beast and whoever you might have as an example, maybe if you go back in Alex Eubanks, which is the fitness influencer that I mentioned, he might have taken worse pictures. Maybe his physique wasn't quite where it is now. It doesn't matter because it's where, you know, that's in the past, and people are looking at what's happening now. He grew, and now people are looking. So by the time that people start watching your channel, you're going to be at the point where they want to keep watching. And of course, they can go back and watch the earlier videos, and that's going to help you a lot when it comes to the actual algorithm and like what you're earning. But that's not going to be what they're attaching to. They're going to be attaching to what you are now as a content creator. So by the time you start, you're going to be, or sorry, not by the time you start. When you start, you're not going to be good at it, right? No one's going to see that. So you got a lot of time to practice comfortably, knowing that no one's going to see it, or very few people. And by the time people do start watching, you're going to be a pro, or at least significantly better than you are now, which is good enough. I was really excited to actually talk about this topic because I just did a YouTube course that talked about it a lot as well. And they always kept saying two things. They used a quote a lot that I'm going to show you very soon. And they kept saying, start before you're ready. And I really agree with that. But there's this quote, and I don't know who made this quote. I don't think it was the people that I was listening to. I think it was someone else. This quote is, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So I want you guys to really digest that quote. I think that is an incredible quote because it just smashes the face of the idea that you have to be great to start, right? I really like that. A lot of people are held back by the fact that they see the top 1%. It really stops us from doing things that could make us great. Or they say, I'm not different enough, I'm not good enough. All these different excuses. But how are you going to get good? How are you going to become different or differentiate yourself from other people if you don't start now? How's that going to happen exactly? Is it just going to happen magically, or are you going to have to actually do the thing that you're trying to get good at? I'd say you probably have to do the thing. And that kind of brings me into the longevity of your fitness career, as well as your influencer career, if that's the way that you want to go with things, or even your actual business career. You have to differentiate yourself from other people, right? But of course, like there's the age-old adage that no one or nothing is actually different. And it's true. Nothing's different under the sun at all. I think that's actually, I want to say that it's in the book of Psalms, but I could be totally wrong. I think it's a famous quote from the extremely wise King Solomon from the Bible. Nothing is new under the sun, and it's 100% true. Everything that you think is an original thought that you had came from several other thoughts and several other influences from outside of you. However, you are an individual and you are different in your small way. And so you have to use those things that make you similar to other people to start, but you're just going to have your own take on things. So I'm not saying anything new when I talk about supplements or workout philosophies, because a lot of what I use is just scientific research, right? Like when I say that creatine is highly researched and I use that research to show you that creatine is a really good supplement, I didn't make those studies. I'm just sharing them with you. But I'm sharing it from my point of view, from my experience, from my own thoughts. So I'm taking something that's old and giving you my perspective on it, and my perspective and my personality is what's going to make it new. I'm not going to make anything new. But the fact that I'm saying it is new. And this is what really branches into the longevity of your career. So one big thing is I think that you should really be sure of who you are before the comments and the feedback influence you, right? So if you start your career, right, as a fitness influencer and you're already being critical on yourself, you got to get past that, first of all. But you're already going to be critical of myself or of yourself. I am critical of myself, right? I always will be. But you have to turn that into a healthy type of criticism where you're more looking at yourself as like a sculpture. But it can't be who you are. When your physique becomes who you are and not just what you look like, then you rate yourself on your physique, like who you are as your physique. You start to rate yourself on the amount of comments that you get, the amount of likes and dislikes that you get. And trust me, that people will start telling you to do certain things. And that if you did those things, then they would want to watch you. This is why a lot of social media influencers go on steroids, because they get so tied in to what they look like, when that is the smallest portion of who they are. And you're not always, because you're young now, right? But what happens when you're 40 or 50 and you're not in your peak shape? You might still look good, but what happens then? If you don't have anything else to say at that point, your channel is going to die, because someone younger is going to come along and take over, because they're going to look better than you. I'm sorry. It's just how it is. And for me, I'm 34. So it's not going to be too much longer for me until I'm not in my peak anymore. I'm going to make that last as long as I can and eat really healthy. But eventually someone's going to come along where they have better genetic potential than me. I mean, they're already out there. So, it doesn't matter. But even if you're like the top 0.1%, if that's all you have to say, then when you hit 50, it's done. But if you make who you are more about the person who you are on the inside, your soul characteristics, your mind, the things that you think, the things that you say, then a part of your channel and a part of who you are can be physical fitness. But you'll have room to expand and grow and even change as you go. And people will actually want to stick around and see that. Because you see, if you make your content now for who you are now, and that's it, then if that changes and your audience is only watching, they're not watching you for who you are, right? Like, they're watching you for who you are right now and what you are. Most importantly, they're watching you for what you are. Then when who you are and what you are changes, they're going to leave. But if you start early on self-confidence, in the fact that we were made for a purpose, and our purpose is ever changing, then you will build a core audience. Now, a lot of people will leave when you change, and it happens to everyone. But you will have a core audience that will stick with you no matter what you do. So right now we talk about a lot of self-improvement and a lot of fitness. Who knows? 10 years from now, I might stop talking about fitness altogether and just talk about self-improvement. Doesn't matter. I'm okay with that. And because I'm okay with that, and because I'm not okay, because I am okay with not being the best, and I'm okay with being myself in front of people, people are going to stick around for that. I already saw it happen with my gaming channel. I switched games, or I switched things that I did, and I had that core audience of people that kept watching no matter what. So that's the takeaway message that I want you guys to have today. I'm going to leave it at that. So the two things that I really want to focus on are the fact that if you ask yourself, will I ever reach my goals? And you realize that you won't, then you should most definitely start your fitness social media immediately. Start it before you're ready. Don't wait. It's more interesting and more relatable to start now when you're not your best, because no one's their best. And most people aren't even halfway there. And they want to see someone improving so that they can improve along with you. So that's point one. And point two that I want you guys to really take away from this is to base your content on who you are rather than what you are. So that in the future, when you have new passions, you can retain your core community and viewers that you have right now, or the viewers that you will eventually get. Also, guys, just as a little update, I will be releasing probably tomorrow a week 3. I missed week 2 of my testosterone update because there wasn't really a whole lot to share. So probably tomorrow I will be sharing my week 3 updates and explaining that. So definitely stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching Coffee with Fox. If you liked anything that I said, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I'll answer any questions that you guys have. Until next time, I can't speak today. Till next time, I'm Zach signing out.